Okay, this is pattern number 97738, and it is an intermediate level bracelet. So we're going to start with all of our strings in, and we're pairing everything up for this one again, just like the last one. And we're going to start with red and black, and we're going to go backwards, forwards, so that you get a black knot. Set those off to the side. Now you have your red and then white. You're going to do another backwards, forwards. Set this to the side. Take your blue and black and make a backwards, forwards. Take your purple and red and make a backwards, forwards. Take your yellow and red and make it backwards, forwards. So there will be a red knot showing. And then take your blue and green and make a backwards, forwards, so that there will be a green knot showing. And actually, I'd already done one round of this pattern beforehand, so I'm going to take some tape down the first part so that it'll be easier to manage. Okay, now for this one, you're going to leave out your green strand on one end, and on the other end you will be leaving out a red strand. Then you're going to want to repair everything to make it easier. You start with your black and your red, and you're going to make a forward knot so the black knot shows up. Set those to the side. Then you have a white and blue. And you're going to make a forward knot so that a white knot shows up. Set those to the side. You're going to want to take your black and purple, and you're going to make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. Take your red and yellow, and you make a backwards knot so that yellow shows up. Then you have your red and your blue, and you're going to want to make a backwards knot so that blue shows up. And you're already done with 2 out of 12 lines. Okay, you're going to want to bring in your green and reds again, and you're going to pair everything back up together to make it easier. You're going to make a forward knot, red over red, so that red knot shows up. Set those to the side. You'll have black and blue, and you'll want to make a forward knot so that blue shows up. Black shows up. Set those to the side. Then you'll have white and purple. You'll want to make a forward knot so that white shows up. Set those to the side. Take your black and yellow, and you'll make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. You'll then have red and blue, and make a forward knot so that red shows up. Set those to the side, and then you'll have blue and green, and you'll make a forward knot so that red shows up. Perfect. Set those to the side. Now we will be moving on to our 4th row. And for the 4th row, we will take both reds out of the sides. and just set them off to the side. We will not be using them for this one. So then we'll want to repair everything. Perfect. And then we'll start with our blue and red and make a backwards knot so that blue shows up. Set those aside. We will then have black and purple and make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. We will have white and yellow. Make a forward knot so that white shows up. Set those to the side. We'll have black and blue. We will make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. Then we will have red and green. We will make a backwards knot so that green shows up. There, and we are done with our 4th row. So now we'll move on to our 5th row. And we will bring back in our reds, set everything off to the side, and, well, not set everything off to the side, but we will repair everything. And we will start with our red and blue, and make a forward knot so that red shows up. Then we will have red and purple. Make a forward knot so that red shows up. Then we will have our black and yellow. And make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set that aside. Then we will have our yellow and blue. Make a forward knot so that white shows up. Set that aside. Then we will have black and green. And we will make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set that aside. And then we will have red and make a forward knot so that red shows up. Perfect. We are done with our 5th row. Moving on to our 6th row. For our 6th row, we will be leaving out a blue and a red. And we will pair everything up again. We'll start off with our purple and red and make a backwards knot so that purple shows up. Set those to the side. Take our red and yellow. Whoa. What are they doing? Getting tangled up at the bottom. And we will make a backwards knot so that yellow shows up. Set those aside. Then we will take our black and blue and make a forward knot so that black shows up. Set those aside. And then we will have our white and green. Make a forward knot so that white shows up. Set those aside. Then we'll have red and black. And make a forward backward so that black shows up. Bam. We are done with our 6th row and we are on to our 7th row. So, we're going to bring back in the reds, and the red and the blue. I'm going to just repair everything. Perfect. Now we are going to take our blue and purple and make a forward backwards so that blue shows up. Set those aside. Take our red and yellow make a forward backward so that red shows up. Set those aside. Take red and blue and make a forward backwards so that red shows up. Take your black and green and make a forward backward so that black shows up. Take your white and black and so we are on row 7 and we are going to take your white and red and make a forward backward. And then take your black and red and make a forward backward. Bam, done with the 7th row. On to the 8th row. And for the 8th row, we're going to leave out a blue and a red. We're going to repair everything to make it easier. We're going to start off with our purple and red. We're going to make a forward knot so that purple shows up. Set that to the side. Then we're going to take our yellow and red, and we are going to make a forward knot so that yellow shows up. Set those to the side. Take your blue and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. Take green and white, make a backwards knot so that white shows up. Set those to the side and take your red and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Perfect. And now we are done with our 8th row and we are on to our 9th row. Bring back in the red and the blue and repair everything together. Okay, then we're going to start with our blue and our red, and we're going to make a backwards knot so that red shows up. Set those to the side, take your purple and red, and make a backwards knot so that red shows up. Take your yellow and black and make a backwards knot. Set that aside. Take your blue and white and make a backwards knot so that white shows up. Set that aside. Take your green and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. And then take your red and make a backwards knot so that red shows up. Perfect. And we are done with our 9th row. We are on to our 10th row. Just 2 more rows left after that. On the 10th row, we are leaving out 2 reds on the ends, and then we're just going to pair everything up again. You start off with blue and red, and you're going to make a forward knot so that blue shows up. Set those to the side, and then you're going to take purple and black and you're going to make a backwards knot. Set those to the side. Then take yellow and white, make a backwards knot so that white shows up. Set those to the side. Then take your blue and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Set those to the side. And then you take green and red and you make a forward knot so that green shows up. Perfect. Now we are done with our 10th row. We are on to our 11th row. And for our 11th row, we bring back in the reds from this side. We're basically alternating, but I'm going to keep reminding you just in case you forget. And it's also nice to know which colors are being left out when, just in case you get some strings mixed up. I've only gotten one mixed up once here, I think, with a black and red at the very end. But I fixed it. Okay, so now we're going to have our red and reds, and we're going to make a backwards knot so that red shows up. Set them to the side, take your blue and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Now you have white and purple, and you're going to make a backwards knot so that white shows up. Set those to the side, take yellow and black and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Then you take your blue and red, make a backwards knot so that red shows up. And then you take your green and red, and you make a backwards knot so that red shows up. Perfect. One more row to go. And then we are done, and it's just either you can print up the thing and keep going, or you can start this video from the beginning and keep making rows. Now for this last row, we're going to leave out the green at the end and the red at the end and repair everything. Home stretch, guys. And this isn't as complicated as my last one, because this one is only 12 rows and the last one was, I believe, 24 rows. But they are both intermediate, and they both use all 4 of the knot types. So, we're starting with red and black, and we're going to make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Perfect. Then we got blue and white, and we're going to make a backwards knot so that white shows up. Set them aside, take purple and black, and make a backwards knot so that black shows up. Set those aside. Then you take yellow and red, and you're going to make a forward knot so that yellow shows up. Set those to the side. Now I have blue and red, and I'm going to make a forward knot so that blue shows up. And that is it. And if I'm going to start from the beginning, I will bring mine back in. But basically it should start to look like this, with a line down the middle. It's just like that. And yeah, it's an intermediate. What I did was I printed it up and I colored in the colors that I wanted. So I changed it a little bit. But if you want the original colors, it could look like that. But I wanted more distinguished colors, so it looks like a rainbow with a stripe down the middle. And so, yeah, this is also the pattern. So if you want, you can just pause the video and use it right here if you know how to do the knots. Okie dokie, bye.